secondarily, and we're now live on my channel, which is the one that really matters. The Who Dey.
Who Dat?
Who Dey, yeah. And I can say Who Dey with some confidence, which is only the 4th time this season. And actually, I would argue that 2 of the times I didn't have that much confidence in it. When we beat the Steelers, I was feeling pretty good. But I'll be honest, that 2-0 start that we had at the beginning of the season, I wasn't feeling that confident with it. I was like, yeah, we won, but we didn't like with the Jaguars game, we lost Joe Burrow. And with the Browns game, it's like we won, but we didn't look very good.
Which game should I go over of all the times I felt disappointed?
Well, how about the Falcons game? Go over that one.
No.
What about the Dennis Allen game? Go over that one.
Man, I was forced to root for the Bears today, bro.
So obviously this is not the first time we've done this year because of reasons. To last time it was because I had a parent-teacher conference. Yesterday was because of Thanksgiving, and somebody messaged me on Twitter. They were like, "Hey, what's up?" And I'm like, "It's Thanksgiving. I already told you guys we weren't going to be up on Thanksgiving, but we do still got to do predictions." So me and Mikey emailed each other the predictions for like the Thanksgiving games. And I picked the Bengals, and I was right, by the way. I was right.
I got every other game right except for that one.
The offense, outside of like the offense did kind of fall off a cliff in the middle of the game, but the offense, even with as good as it looked with Joe Flacco, the offense looked even smoother with Joe Burrow. I want to point that out. Like it did. Like it's like the idea was like, how could it get better? Well, it did. It is still better with Joe Burrow, even though, like, yes, Joe Flacco was running it quite well, but it never really felt that smooth with Flacco. It was just like, oh my God, Flacco can throw the ball. But like it's so damn smooth when it runs smooth with Joe Burrow. It's like the difference between it's like the difference between a car that's had an oil change and like a rusty old Geo that happens to get you from A to B.
Nice.
Yeah, so and the defense looked significantly worse than everybody keeps asking, like talking about. Because, like, honestly, the Bengals defense did not look very good. I'm being honest and analytical here. Like a lot of people are like, oh, the Bengals defense looks so much better against the Ravens. They didn't. They didn't look better against the like they lucked out.
The Ravens played better against the Ravens.
Do what?
I would argue that the Ravens played better against the Ravens.
I would argue that as well. The or worse against the Ravens offense absolutely imploded. Let's just be completely honest about that one. Yeah, one of those fumbles was forced by Jordan Battle, but like that Lamar Jackson fumble was not forced. The Isaiah Likely fumble was not really forced. The Zay Flowers fumble, well, what he had 2 fumbles, right?
No, Flowers had a fumble.
The Zay Flowers fumble was caused by a Bengals player. But a lot of the mistakes from the Ravens were the Ravens' fault, not really the Bengals. The Bengals defense just does what the Bengals defense always does when they look like they're playing well, and the reality is they're not actually playing well. They capitalize on turnovers. And, you know, the sad thing about this season is that they've had some games like that where they've capitalized on turnovers and the offense couldn't do shit. Now, in the case of this game, that did happen. The defense capitalized on a turnover. Bengals got the ball at the 3-yard line, and they couldn't do it. They went 4 and out. Like they literally gave the ball right back. Luckily, the Ravens were like, no, you can have it back.
Yeah.
They put the Bengals in timeout. Essentially, they were like, no, you don't get to bungle this one today. We're gonna do it harder.
Wait, so did you take the same class that the Saints did on how to not score when you're at the 1-yard line 4 straight times?
I'm not terribly surprised this Bengals team is stupid, but maybe, I don't know.
Oh, you think that's stupid? Well, guess what? The Saints did that on Sunday twice.
Yeah, we probably would have if we'd had the opportunity, to be honest with you. But that Ravens defense was kind of reminded me of the better version of the Bengals defense this season, where it's like they're not really that good, but they get into like a hot position. Like the Ravens defense started bad and then they kind of got good, and then like the game kind of got away from them and they just stopped being good at all. And that's kind of
Yeah.
what the Bengals defense is this year when it's at its best, which is a really shitty, annoying thing to say. But like the Bengals defense at their best is that bad version of the Ravens defense. But the Bengals defense at their worst is what we saw against the Jets and the Bears. And really who they have been all season. Those games were just the biggest highlights of this is what the Bengals defense like is risking basically every single week because of how they play. Now, when the offense is able to do better than that, great, but the offense doesn't always do that. Now, they did pretty well against the Ravens, but the Ravens are kind of disaster right now. So, I'm happy. I enjoy winning, especially enjoy winning against division rivals. And y'all know this about me, but I despise tanking with every fiber of my being. I won't do it unless it's one game and Joe Burrow's on the other side. Other than that, I'm not into tanking. Definitely not into long-term tanking of any kind whatsoever. I'm just like we're not doing that. The Bengals, like against really all odds right now, the Bengals have a real path to the playoffs right now. It's not an easy path. They basically have to like win. They basically have to win out. They could probably lose one more game and still win the AFC North, which would be crazy because if they lost one more game, they would have 9 losses on the season. They could go 8-9 and win the AFC North. That's how wild this division is. Wildly bad this division is this year. Because like the Ravens, I think it's pretty clear that the Ravens aren't going to take over. But they could beat the Steelers. And they also played the Steelers twice. So, I mean, like, there's no reason to think they couldn't beat the Steelers twice. Steelers have to play the Bills this week, and the Bills are arguably just as inconsistent as the Steelers, but more talented. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a world, like I said, where the Bengals go 8-9 and win the division, and that's not a super unlikely thing. I mean, it's like I mean, there were teams that like back when there were 16 games, there were teams that there were 7-9 division winners. It happened more than once. One time it was the NFC South where it happened.
Yep.
The other time was the NFC West, and I think those were the only 2 times it happened.
Don't. You remember? You know who won the NFC West that year?
The Saints?
No,
I don't remember. I remember the Seahawks won the NFC West, but I don't remember who won the NFC South.
And you know who they beat in the playoffs?
Oh, was it the Panthers?
That
was
is
it,
not.
was it
Did
the
you miss
Buccaneers?
that question entirely?
Who won the NFC South?
I'm not talking about the NFC South. I'm talking about the NFC West right now.
Oh yeah, the Seahawks. Yeah, and that was the Beastquake. Oh yeah. Oh, that was against the Saints. I forgot that was against the Saints. The Beastquake.
Nah, I mean sometimes you gotta laugh at your own pain, but you see, and Jerry's in my chat. Shout out to Jerry, and he said it best, man. Who that all day, every day. I don't care how much Beastquake score on us. We go to rise. Anyways, continue about your sorry Bengals.
Well, real quick, I'm gonna look at my chat. So, guys, apparently my chat's not connecting, so I can't put you on the screen right now. I don't know what's going on with it. But hello, stranger, Who Dey. Hello, Daniel Berry. Hello, Mark. The AFC North is tank division. Yeah, that's what I was basically saying. 2020. Oh, did the 2020? I think he's right. The 2020 Commanders won the. So that has happened before, where an 8-9 team has won their division. So I mean, like, it could happen for the Bengals, and it's crazy to think about. But here's the difference. I don't remember. I don't remember the trajectory of those teams that won their division with a losing record. But I don't think any of them did it with like an end of the season win streak. Like none of these teams were like were they like 3-6 on the season?
They had like 2 wins by like week 10 or 11.
2020. the Commanders season. What was it? They were that was with the Washington football team at that point, wasn't? Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Let's see, 7-9, back when Chase Young was still an up and coming player.
Yep.
So it's not quite the same because they did go on a 4-game win streak, but they also lost two games like down the stretch, and then they ended up they beat the Eagles to go 7-9. But it's not like with the Bengals, the only way the Bengals get to like the Bengals, I guess they could lose one more game, but the only way the Bengals get to a division win with 8-9 is they basically have to win out and like have maybe they lose to the Bills or something. But if they lose to the Bills, then they have to beat Ravens, Dolphins, Cardinals, Browns. So it's not exactly a gauntlet when you get to that point. But the point is that the Bengals would have to go on a win streak to get there, going into the playoffs. Like it wouldn't be like the Commanders where they lose 2 and then win their last one and then get in the playoffs that way. The Bengals would have to be on a win streak to get in the playoffs. And I'm just saying, if they do and the defense plays like that, we're probably fucked. But if the defense plays a little bit better, which they're capable of, and apparently Joe Burrow, even though he doesn't play defense, you guys saw what the psychological effect of having Joe out there was. The Bengals defense did play well at times, and there was also in important times when they played well, which is not what they've been doing all season. What they've been doing is they've been playing better at the times when it doesn't matter, and then when it does matter, they collapse. Now, the Ravens handed the Bengals this game, but the Bengals still had, we saw this with the Jets and the Bears. Just because the Bengals are handed a football game doesn't mean they're actually going to, close the deal. And they did close the deal, and I think part of that is the psychological effect of having Joe Burrow, out there on the field and doing stuff, or knowing that he's going to go out there and be on the field. No offense to Joe Flacco, but I just don't think Joe Flacco rallies the troops quite the same way that Joe Burrow does. So I'm just saying, if the Bengals win the AFC North at 8-9, they're going to be the most dangerous division winner of all time with a losing record.
I know y'all weren't going to win your division last year, but if y'all would have made the playoffs at 9-8, y'all probably would have been the most dangerous 7 seed of all time.
Well, yeah, we were saying that last year too, but that's the point. Which, by the way, is getting on my. Because I was so happy when we went when we won that week 1 game. We were 1-0. I'm like, oh my god, okay, we got the week 1 win game. Hopefully we win week 2. But hopefully we win week 2. But we got 1-0 out of the way. Okay. So maybe we won't have this thing at the end of the season where it's like, oh, we got to scramble to make the playoffs. And it's like, oh, well, if we make it, then we'll be the hottest team in the NFL. But the problem is that we got to bust our asses just to get there. And, at this point, it seems to be the case that we're probably not going to make it if we have to make a run like that. So we ended up going 2-0. And yet here we are again, where it's like, yeah, okay, if the stars align and the Bengals just completely turn the page, they could make the playoffs. It's not outside of the realm of possibility. And it's actually, you could even argue it might even be more likely that if they did go on a run, weirdly enough, but they could doing it this year, they would have a better shot than they did last year. Because this year they're just facing off against their garbage division. Last year, they had to get a wild card spot, which has fairly high standards. The AFC North has no standards this year.
Yeah, when you look at that division, it's like the Browns, they're the Browns. The Steelers, you never know with them. They could go out, and I say this every time we talk about the Steelers. One week they go out and they lose to a 3-win team. Next week they're beating the number 2 seed in the AFC. You never know what you expect out of them. And the Ravens, you just beat the Ravens, and you beat the Steelers this season too. So, you also lost Pittsburgh, but the fact that you beat them with a backup quarterback, Joe Flacco. That's proven everything right there. The Bengals can win some of these divisional games on the stretch. They put Lamar Jackson and the Ravens in a freaking 4-hour chokehold. So if you can do that, you play them again the week after next week. So you play them 2 weeks from now. So if you can do the same thing, then I think it's probably more likely they do win the division.
So what you said just now is you said like look at the Steelers. What they do is like 1 week they're losing to like bad to a bad team. Another week they're beating a good team. Well, what's actually happened to the Steelers for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 the last 6 weeks of the season? The first 5 weeks of the season, the Steelers were looking pretty good. But the last 6 weeks of the season, what have they done? They lost to Joe Flacco. They lost to the Packers. They beat the Colts. It wasn't a super decisive win, but they beat the Colts. So give them credit for beating the Colts. But then they got pummeled by the Chargers. They beat the Bengals, but the Bengals kind of beat themselves in that game. Like I don't think too many people are looking at the Steelers and being like, oh yeah, the Steelers like really showed the world with that one. And then they lost to the Bears. So like the 2 wins, and one of them was. I don't really give them that much credit for winning that game. And then the other one, they won, but it wasn't exactly a super decisive win. So, I don't know. The Steelers lately have been, the week before that, but the week before all of that, they kind of struggled with the Browns, pulled away at the end of the game, kind of like with the Bengals game. The week before that, they almost lost to the Vikings. So, I'm just saying it's been like the wheels have kind of been coming off in Pittsburgh for longer than people really want to admit. And it's been like 8 weeks now that the one win they've had all year that's impressive is the Patriots in week 3. And the Patriots hadn't really quite turned into the Patriots at that point.
Yeah, when I look at wins early in the season, it's kind of like where it's like every team is kind of like the same early in the season. Like you got new playbooks, you got new players, new coaches. So it's like, and the Patriots, they were just finding themselves early in the season. So I don't really, obviously give the Steelers credit for winning that game, but at the end of the day, the Steelers could have lost that game, and we'll be having a different conversation right now.
Well, right, and that's the thing. If the Bengals hadn't shot themselves in the foot repeatedly against the Steelers 2 weeks ago, the Steelers would be 5-6 right now, and by the way, so would the Bengals. So the Bengals would probably be in the lead for the AFC North right now if they had beaten the Steelers. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. But the point is, that's how that's the difference right now. The difference is the Bengals didn't show up 1 week, and the Steelers. The Steelers didn't really show up that much either. They just benefited from the fact that the Bengals completely shit the bed.
Yeah, it's like.
But when the Bengals did show up, they lost.
Yeah, like the Steelers, there, I feel like, you see, most of the teams that win the Super Bowl, and I know, sorry, Kyle, but I don't really think the Bengals are really in, a Super Bowl argument right now. But most of the teams that go on to, win Super Bowl or even win the division, they have to be hot at the right time. If you look at most of the Super Bowl winners the past few years, the Rams in 2021, they were not the 1 seed, but they got hot at the right time. The Chiefs, the year after that, they were the 1 seed, but to be fair, they also got hot at the right time. The year after that, it was the Chiefs again, and they were not the best team in the AFC, but they got hot at the right time. The year after that, the Eagles, they were not the best team in the NFC. They were one of them, but they weren't the best, but they got hot at the right time. So, and for example, the Bengals, they're 4-8 right now. But if they can easily win this division, they just got to get hot. And with Joe Burrow coming back, that's definitely going to help. However, he didn't really inspire me yesterday. They had a monster second half, but first half, it was all field goals, man. It was that McPherson show, boy.
It was. Joe Burrow was warming up. And by the way, Evan McPherson broke the Bengals all-time record for longest field goal in that game, which was awesome. And it was also the first ever field goal over 60 yards, which I've been
about 2 weeks ago.
Was that 2 weeks? No, that was last week.
Are you talking about the Ravens game or the one before it?
The Ravens game.
No, it wasn't.
No. Yeah, wasn't it?
No, it was not. Because I remember you were talking about it on the live stream, and I also remember that we were not live.
You know what? That's a good point. That is a good point. I was talking about it live, and I was definitely not live yesterday because Thanksgiving is just not going to happen, guys. Joe Burrow's out here like apparently part of the reason Joe Burrow came back for this game is because he just really had a desire to play on Thanksgiving during his NFL career at some point. And so I'm just like me, I'm over here like I like food. I'm like Thanksgiving's like one of the best holidays. So no, I'm not gonna stream. It was at like 8. I probably could have done it because like the Bengals game was late and my family had pretty much gone. Actually, my family was gone by the time of the Bengals. But I mean, I had all this food and I had to like I had to pack it up, and it's just like hosting Thanksgiving is a little bit more than just making food and having people over. There's like a lot of other shit you got to do, which is my first year hosting it, so I'm learning all this stuff I got to do. But point being, I didn't really have time. The only way I would have had time is if I had like done a whole lot less for Thanksgiving. That's not going to happen. Um, but I'm getting off track here. Point being, Joe Burrow came back. Apparently, part of the reason he rehabbed so hard is because he really didn't want to miss out on what might be his only chance to play on Thanksgiving, and because like the Bengals aren't exactly a mainstay on Thanksgiving.
I mean, I think they'll get another opportunity later down the line, with that team. I think they'll get another chance. But, I mean, I kind of understand it because, like, if Burrow, like, I'm not wishing this upon him, but, like, if he gets hurt and he can't play most of his career, then, it's going to suck for him, I guess. But, yeah.
Well, hopefully that doesn't happen. I will say one thing, like, it did look to me like, and sort of. I'm like, he was still playing Joe Burrow football, so that's still worth noting. But it did look to me like he was maybe being a little bit smarter with the way that he was like I mean, he had a couple like rushes. And he had like the quarterback sneak, and every time that man has any contact whatsoever, my heart skips a beat. But uh but you'll notice like when he's like throwing the ball and like passing and stuff like that, even when he's getting sacked, it seems like he's learned to brace a little bit better, which
A little bit.
it's I mean that's really hard to obviously analyze, but like I said that bringing Joe Flacco in, regardless of whether he like wins us a bunch of games or not, bringing Joe Flacco in might give Joe Burrow the example he needs to adjust his play style a little bit. And obviously Joe Flacco got hurt too, so like what's that tell you? And once again, like it might just be the Bengals being snake bitten because our offensive line is fine. There's no issue with the offensive line. They're playing well. I mean, there's this. Every team's got some issues. There's some false start issues. Not every single. I mean, there's some plays where protection breaks down, but like the Bengals' offensive line is a pretty average offensive line at this stage. So like, no, you can't really blame the offensive line. Yet Joe Flacco still got hurt, right? And that's a big part of the reason we lost to the Steelers is because Joe Flacco was hurt during that game, and he was trying to throw the football, and you could tell he was inaccurate, and there were problems with it. That might be a part of a reason why the Bengals went ahead and got Joe Burrow, put the okay on Joe Burrow coming back quickly, is because Joe Flacco's body is deteriorating, and everything in my soul wanted to see Joe Flacco play this game and beat the Ravens because that would have been hilarious. But that's not the game we got, and I'd absolutely take Joe Burrow beating the Ravens. I to be honest with as far as the implications go, especially because the defense at least gained some, like whether or not they played super great, they did gain some confidence after that game. So the defense has gained some confidence, and Joe Burrow coming back winning this game, I think sends a little bit better of a message than like Joe Flacco beating the Ravens is funny, but Joe Burrow beating the Ravens matters. See, I don't know if it would matter as much if Joe Flacco beat the Ravens because the Bengals being 4-8, but Joe Burrow still hasn't come back yet. I don't think it feels super awesome anyway. Like we're still 4-8, it's still a long shot, but the fact that we got to 4-8 because Joe Burrow came back and we were floundering before that means that any hope that exists, a very tiny, minute amount of hope, but that amount of hope that does exist is amplified.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I had something similar to that because I remember when the Saints were actually a competent organization and they played Tampa Bay in the playoffs a few years back. I remember when James Winston came in for a play and threw a touchdown against Tampa Bay, and I was like, man, this is going full circle. And then we lost that game, and then I was no longer happy. But I remember, man, I was like, oh yeah, James scored a touchdown against his whole team, and then yeah.
It was. We will always have. And again, I know Jim likes to make fun of me for it. In fair play, honestly, like it probably was pretty stupid. But I I still haven't forgotten the fact that we beat the Steelers in 2020 in an entirely meaningless game that I don't know if it even affected the Steelers all that much. I think it was part of a losing streak for them, but we didn't initiate the losing streak. I think they had lost the previous week and we just kind of hammered it home. But yeah, that like the fact that the Bengals beat the Steelers a few weeks ago, like before the one we lost, it matters a little tiny bit, but not all that ultra much. And if we don't make the playoffs, then people are gonna look back on that Bengals Steelers game and they're gonna be like, well, that was a game, but it didn't really end up mattering much in the long run. But it matters to me because fuck the Steelers and the fact that Joe Flacco beat them in Cincinnati. I'm pretty sure he beat them for Cleveland as well. So the Steelers have been beaten by every AFC North team with Joe Flacco at quarterback, which is a funny stat.
That's good.
It's very funny to me. But I mean, it's not. It'd be better if we beat the Steelers in a game. It'd be better if we beat the Steelers in a game that really is, like a memorable long-term type of game. But I'll remember that game. And for that reason, the Joe Flacco jersey, expensive as it was, is always going to like personally mean something to me. It's always going to probably look very stupid to everybody else, but I've never really cared about that.
Yeah, I feel that.
So, yeah. Anyway, let's get to predictions. I've been ranting about the Bengals. You've thrown in some jabs about the Saints, and I guess that's kind of what this podcast is about. But we also are doing this show literally to do predictions. So let's do some predictions.
I hate a stupid organization. I wish Mickey Loomis can fire himself.
To catch you guys up a little bit, I'm still working. There was a week 8 where our predictions didn't get saved.
We blame Kyle for that.
Well, I think they did get saved. I think I just lost where I saved them. But I have worked on trying to find some of our predictions, and I've got almost all of them. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 of those games in week 8 that I don't have any data for right now, and I'm trying to find it. But other than that, I've got all of our predictions caught up. So right now, my record right now is, by the way, even if I lost all 10 of those games and Mikey won all 10 of those games, I'd still be ahead. So, just want to point that out. But right now, the record is 109, 60, and 1, which is my record, and Mikey's record is 96, 76, and 1.
I'm doing okay.
Well, sort of, actually, because that's not taken into account, because we did email. It doesn't change the difference, by the way, because we both went 3-1 on the predictions for this week. It's just on slightly different games. So like we both picked Green Bay to win. We both picked Dallas to beat the Chiefs. But I picked the Bengals to beat the Ravens, which Mikey did not, and then Mikey picked the Bears to beat the Eagles, which they did. And then I
got the Bears score right. I picked the Bears to have 24 points by the end of it.
Oh, you didn't email that to me though.
I didn't email that to you, but because I already knew you were gonna. Because I stopped giving y'all my picks. All y'all do is laugh. But no. So I had the Bears win 24-20. So if the Eagles just got 5 more points, I got the whole score right.
There you go.
I swear every week there's like 1 or 2 games where I'm like, I almost score right, but some team decides not to cooperate.
Look, Mikey. Let me be clear. I'm only making fun. I'm not making fun of you if you're making score predictions. I don't really record them because like that's too much work.
I know, that's why I said
And like I don't even really know how to quantify that at that point, because that just adds way too much math for me. But like if you want to make the score predictions, by all means. The only ones I'm making fun of you for are the ones where you're like picking the games like 4-7. Like bro, like have you watched football? Like, when's the last time there was a 14-11 football game, Mikey?
I've never predicted a 14-11 ball game.
No, it's not the point.
You predicted
15.
The 10 game in the preseason, but that was preseason. So.
You predicted several games this year, many of which you did on purpose. I understand, but many of which you did not do on purpose, where you picked the one of the teams to score 15. I can't tell you the last time a team scored 15.
Okay. I mean, the Eagles scored 15.
Okay, so I'm not saying it never happens, but it's pretty freaking right. How many points did the Bears score, Mikey?
24.
Exactly.
So
I mean, like here's the thing. You like when I think of low scoring football game, I think of one team getting into like the low 20s and the other team not able to break 20. That's what I think of when I think of a low scoring football team. Or a football game. Not both teams under 14 points or both teams under 17.
It could happen.
No, it could happen. It's very often does not happen. Like if you pick that with a high frequency, you're going to be wrong very often.
You don't know that.
The NFL rules know that.
No, they don't.
They do, just because the refs don't.
They didn't ban points.
No, it's the opposite. They basically banned not getting points.
Yeah, I mean, the referee's gonna be tripping, like they've been tripping all my life.
All right, so yeah, so the actual record right now, then I guess would be, I have 112 wins, and I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but I've got 112 wins, and then Mikey would have 99 wins, I believe. But a bitch ain't won. A bitch ain't won. You got 99 wins, but a bitch ain't won.
I don't even know what that means.
You youngins.
What did I do?
You don't know Jay-Z?
I know who that is. I haven't listened to him. No.
Got a very famous song called "I Got 99 Problems, but a Bitch Ain't One."
Okay, good.
Very common saying.
Cool.
Anyway, I feel old.
Okay.
It's just everybody says that phrase all the time, or at least they do in my generation. So we got Jaguars Titans. What do you think is going to happen?
I could see a world where Tennessee pulls off the upset. However, I'm not predicting that. Give me Jaguars to win.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Jaguars as well, because the Jaguars are not the Titans, and the Titans are 1-10, and they're very bad. And I mean, like the Jaguars are weird. My camera just fucking fell. The Jaguars are weird, so I mean, like I can see where you might potentially make the argument that the Titans could weirdly beat them. I mean, that seems like a thing that a weird team like the Titans would weirdly do. God damn. Is that right? Did I get it? I think I got it. So, like, that is something the Titans could do because they're a weird football team and they do weird things, and so a weird thing could happen. But I think I just said the word weird like 3 times in a row, and I think that indicates how unlikely it is that the Titans are going to win this football game. So, yeah, I agree, Jaguars.
That's fine.
Next up, Mark says the Titans are a bye week for anyone who plays them. Well, not the team who lost to them, who is, I don't know who that was. Not the Jesus fucking Christ, Cardinals. Not the Cardinals.
I don't even remember that game, but the Cardinals were up 21-3 that game as well.
That's terrible.
And the Titans ended up kicking the game-winning field goal because the dude fumbled the ball out the back of the end zone. And then,
Speaking of which, thanks, Isaiah Likely.
Yeah.
Now the difference, though, is Isaiah Likely did not stupidly fumble the ball out the end zone. Because like people, I remember when that play happened for the Cardinals, people were talking about like there's been a rash in the NFL of guys just like dropping the ball too early because they want to celebrate and they forget their whole bodies or whatever. Isaiah Likely just fumbled the ball, which isn't good, but he wasn't doing it because he was being an idiot. He just dropped the ball.
Yeah, he was basically an idiot, just in a different way.
And Jordan Battle, who I have nothing but unkind things to say about most of the time, give him credit for knocking that ball out. And that is the one thing Jordan Battle knows how to do is, is look slightly better at football because he makes a turnover happen. The problem is he's going for the turnover on like damn near every fucking play and doesn't actually tackle or cover anybody because he's so focused on trying to get the turnover that he just whiffs on everything. And every once in a while, he hits a nugget and he gets a turnover. And we're like, oh, Jordan Battle, we love you. And we just forget that every other play he's garbage on.
Yep, that's how it would be.
Yep. 49ers, Browns. What's going to happen there?
I think it could be an interesting game because I don't trust the 49ers, but the Browns are the Browns. So give me the 49ers to still win this game, though.
I was about to say, do you need to trust, like you want to talk about not trusting a football team. Why would you ever trust the Cleveland Browns?
That's why I'm not picking them. I think it's going to be a close game. The 49ers confused me too, but I think they're at least good enough to beat Cleveland, even if they do throw 3 interceptions like they did against Carolina.
Is Brock Purdy coming back? I thought I heard he was.
Purdy already is back. He played against Carolina, and that sucker threw 3 interceptions on a Monday Night Football game, and he still won.
Well, there you go. See?
Which makes no sense.
That's the Brock Purdy experience. He plays badly, and his team wins.
I know. Like I tried to deny the system QB, but bro, this dude's literally the definite. Like, look up system QB in the damn dictionary. Brock Purdy's on the cover of the thing.
Well, Brock Purdy
is still good enough to win a game.
See, the thing is, calling Brock Purdy is most of the time when you use the phrase system QB, that's usually an insult laid at guys who are like, like elite type of guys, and you're like, well, yeah, but they're kind of a system quarterback, and it's kind of like Joe Flacco got that a lot. I don't know if it was necessarily always fair because obviously he's operated in lots of systems and played fairly well in most of them, but he's also played really poorly in like Denver and with the Jets and at times with the Browns. So, you could really make the argument one way or the other, but like, a lot like Tom Brady got the system quarterback thing a lot until he went to a new system and won another Super Bowl. But calling Brock Purdy a system quarterback, I think is just a designation. I don't think it's an insult. It's just like he's a system quarterback. He's not a very good quarterback, but he works in San Francisco's system.
And yeah, he's getting paid like how much? Like $200 million or something like that. Like
well, maybe then it becomes an insult. I don't know, but I don't think he's too upset when he sees those paychecks.
Yep.
All right, we got Texans Colts.
I don't care if Daniel Jones has a foot fracture or not. C.J. Stroud's coming back for Houston. Think he's going to be rusty, and I don't even think 8 sacks is going to be able to save. Well, maybe if they get 8 sacks, maybe they'll win. But give me the Colts to win this one because I just don't. I think Houston, everything's going too well for Houston. They're bound to break out at some point.
Who'd you say you're taking?
Colts.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Texans.
You do that.
Mostly because the Colts. This isn't really a Texans thing. This is sort of acknowledging that the Texans have been looking a little better lately, but also for me acknowledging that the Colts have been looking a little suspect these last couple of weeks.
Wait, suspect? Do we need to call Raymond?
No, not that kind of suspect.
I mean, we got to call Raymond I. Colt or whatever his name is.
They are 1-2 over the last 3 weeks, and the one is a rough-looking game that they did win against the Atlanta Falcons.
But 1, 2, tell them not. Then 2, tell them to win some games. Then
that's kind of what I'm saying. Like I don't. I'm not really super sold on the Colts these last couple of weeks, and maybe the Texans are a get right game for them. I don't know, but it kind of feels to me like the Texans have not a lot, but a little bit of momentum, and the Colts have virtually zero.
That's why I think Houston's losing, because they had so much momentum with Davis Mills, and they're going back to CJ Stroud, who hasn't played for that team since week 9. So that's why I think
That's
that
true.
he's going to play Houston.
It's true.
That's exactly what
I could see it either way, but I'm going to stick with the Texans.
All right, you do that.
All right. Let's see what's next. We got the. Well, I guess we'll save that game for later. We got the Falcons. Speaking of which, going to the Jets to play a football game where two football teams will be playing football against each other, and people will be paying money to watch this. Like there will be real human beings who have paid money to go to this game, and even more people who will choose to turn it on the television. Like nobody's telling them they have to. This won't. It's not. I'm not even talking about the people who like turn it on. Oh shit, the game's accidentally on because I left it on that channel. No, there will be people who flip to this game because they're like, oh look, football, and then they flip to this game and they see this game, and then immediately they're like, that was a bad idea. But they will, before they realize it's a bad idea, that they will choose to watch this game. There are people who will do that. I don't know why, but anyway, who's gonna win?
Man, I just got 4 letters and 3 words for you. Jets, Jets. Let's go. Green Dot. Let's go. Jets get the win. I'm calling it out. Jets.
Yeah, they're not gonna. The Falcons are gonna win.
No, they're not.
They are.
No, they won't.
Yeah, they are.
No.
Like, I mean, okay, I understand. You're like, oh, the Falcons are bad, and I don't like them. And anger at Atlanta because they're mean people. I understand all of those arguments, but also the Jets. So we're just gonna. That's my argument.
Quarterback.
Look,
Jets
the only team the Jets can beat, plus the other game they won. But like other than the other game they won, the only team the Jets can beat is the most garbage possible version of the Bengals
and the Browns. Oh, so yeah, y'all both lose to the Jets.
As bad as the Bengals have looked throughout large stretches of this season, the Browns are worse.
But hey, y'all both lost to the Jets. So what? You and Thomas going to start a new podcast called Battle of Who Lost to the Jets Worst Podcast. Well, you know, we're sponsored by Depression.
We already have this podcast. Why do we need that one?
Just to point out that both of y'all lost to the Jets.
I'm not. I look. It's severely embarrassing that the Bengals lost to the Jets. I don't know if it's that embarrassing that the Browns did, though. I think the Browns are just more embarrassing in general already.
Brother, Justin Fields completed 6 passes that game. The Jets still beat them.
Yeah, but it's the Browns. It's kind of expected, is my point. Like with the Bengals, we're like I mean, I'm not saying we're like the cream of the crop with the NFL or whatever, but like people have expectations of us, or at least they did before we lost to the Jets. It's a different world between the Bengals and the Browns.
We played the Jets in a couple of weeks.
That's also going to be a bad game.
I know. I don't even want to watch it. Honestly, I might go to church that day and just stay there. And not come home till like 3 o'clock whenever the game's going to be over.
I mean, if those were my options, I might go to church.
Man, I might just be like, yo, I'm going to see you later. What? Do I have to stream the Saints game? Man, who wants to watch the Saints game? No, I'm still going to probably force myself to stream it just so I have people to play with. But it's like, bro, I'm going to watch that game like I'm a slave. Like I'm being forced to watch it because Mickey Loomis is a dumb person.
Yeah, I mean that's you know, streaming. Oddly enough, streaming and putting yourself out there while some people like from the outside, it might look like more painful to lose to like for your team to lose, and then also you be broadcasting your reaction. It might like some people might think it make it worse. It makes it so much better. Like, I mean, maybe it's just because I've gotten older. I don't know, but like when the Bengals lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers in the 2015 AFC divisional round, um, I was when it was the wild card round, I was broken for like months. Like I couldn't see straight. Well, okay, at least a couple of days I was like that but for months I was still like depressed about it, and I was like I could, but I mean, like starting this YouTube channel, man, like there hasn't been a like I mean I've gotten very upset on camera as you guys have seen, but like there hasn't been a game that's happened yet that's like really gotten to me all that badly long term, because it's just like you gotta get it out during the game and then I move on with my life. It's just like this it's we should change. It's probably already taken, but what I was thinking is we should change our podcast name to Sports Therapy.
Yeah,
But
well,
I think that's probably already taken.
Yeah, I remember when we lost to the Rams in the NFC Championship game. I was broken. I'm still broken, but I was especially like broken for months, to the point where I didn't even watch this. Well, I watched some of the Super Bowl, but when I was like, man, I ain't trying to see both of these, or I ain't trying to see one of these teams win. So I was like, you know what? Screw the Super Bowl. I deserve to sleep over this game. And I woke up and the Rams lost. So I felt a little bit happy inside.
Well, in 2018, you were 8.
That don't mean I still can't be depressed.
I mean, it doesn't, but I think your emotional regulation might be slightly different at 8.
I was still, in fact, I was probably worse when I was 8.
You know what happened when I was 8?
Well, you finally learned what football was? I don't know.
No, I was. No, I was. My dad was like, I when I was in the womb, my from what I understand, my mom has told me the story. When I was in the womb, when my mom was pregnant with me, my dad pissed my mom off so bad because he was watching a Bengals game and getting very animated about it, and she was pregnant, so her nerves were kind of crazy, and so she like threw a glass of water on him. Which is probably a funnier story than the way that I'm telling it. But point being, like I've been inundated with football since I was like, before I was born. Like there isn't a point where like I did not know what football was or had some sort of mind to it or whatever. But when I was just gonna say when I was 8, the Ravens won the Super Bowl.
And when I was born, the Saints won the Super Bowl. My dad was telling me the stories where he was drunk, but he was like, we won this bit. But then he had like a bad headache the day after that. But it was like, man, we won this, bro.
When I was born, let's see, hold on. When I was born, the I think the Washington Redskins were coming off of a Super Bowl victory.
Oh, man. My grandma was divided, though, because she was a big Peyton Manning fan, and she just moved to New Orleans to be a Saints fan, I guess. So she was kind of divided.
I think the 92 season the Cowboys won, but the actual Super Bowl that took place in 92 was the Redskins. But then I was born a few months later.
Well, the year I was born, that was the year that the Steelers beat the Cardinals, but then I was alive for the Saints. Colts Super Bowl.
We don't have to talk about the Super Bowl.
That was a great Super Bowl. You remember when the dude caught that ball in the corner of the end? I'm like,
I do. I do remember
fumbling the ball at the end of that game, or was Palmer the Cardinals quarterback at the time?
No, that was Kurt Warner. I cannot tell you how much I would have absolutely died on the inside if I had to watch the Pittsburgh Steelers in the Super Bowl playing Carson Palmer, not with the Bengals. Like I would have, I don't know if I could have taken that. I don't know. I don't know if my brain. I could barely take Carson Palmer winning a playoff game with the Cardinals, and that only happened once. And then they went on to get absolutely obliterated in the next game because Carson Palmer threw like 6 interceptions. It was hilarious.
Yeah, we don't gotta talk about that.
No, we can talk about it because that game was hilarious. But
No.
it doesn't change. It doesn't change the fact that Carson Palmer did win a playoff game without the Bengals, which made me sad because I was like, God damn it. Can we have anything? Can we have anything? Can we have anything where like things don't go catastrophically wrong for us, and then somebody like leaves and decides I'm going to go do something else, and then things turn out amazingly for that other person? Like, I'm not saying Carson Palmer had an amazing finish to his career. Obviously, he played well with the Cardinals, but there was a lot of strife for Carson Palmer, but he still won a playoff game, which at the time for us was a whole big meme. So
No.
very annoying. Anyway, getting way off track here. Let's get back to some of these predictions. We got the Cardinals going to Tampa Bay to play the Buccaneers.
Give me the Cardinals to pull off the upset, baby.
Wrong.
I think you're wrong.
What? Well, that's nice, but like I know you're wrong. That's
and I know you punt.
What?
I know you punt.
I punt.
You punt.
Punt.
Yeah, you punt.
I don't think I've ever punted a football in my life.
You punt.
What does that even mean?
It means that you punt.
Okay. Don't underestimate Houston's defense, says Mark. Dang it, Kyle, this is Tank Bowl. Well, I already said how I feel about tanking. The Bears thrashed the Eagles in the trenches, apparently, and then message retracted.
They did. 281 rushing yards, most since 1985 for the Bears.
So I'm picking the Buccaneers, and Mikey's picking wrong. Next up is the Rams.
The best win team of all time.
Next up is the Rams. They lost to the Titans.
That was when Kyler Murray was playing.
Okay. So next up, you got the Rams and the Panthers, and what actually could be a very good game.
Yeah, I think it's actually going to be a little bit defensive, but I have 2 predictions. 1, pain for Carolina because they deserve it. 2, Rams win, unfortunately. Someone better win this.
Hold on one sec. My headphones came out. So you're predicting the Rams then?
Yeah.
Okay. I think
I hate the Rams. Bro, I hate the Rams more than I hate some of my divisional rivals.
Yeah, I think I'm also going to take the Rams. The Panthers just feel too chaotic to actually beat a team that's as solid as the Rams.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they can throw for 448 passing yards every day.
Yeah.
Unless they play against Atlanta, then they do it. Yeah, man, Bryce Young's my favorite quarterback in the NFC South. I don't care what nobody says.
What about Tyler Shuck?
Tyler Shuck, the jury's still out on him. But, man, I love that boy Bryce Young. You know why? Because he always plays like trash against the Saints. But every time he sees that Atlanta red, he be carving them up like a Thanksgiving turkey, boy. Well done.
What about Spencer Rattler?
He will rest in peace.
Yeah. But he's still in the NFC South.
For now.
What about what about like Kirk Cousins?
I would rather eat a crow than have anything to do with Kirk Cousins.
No, I mean because he's like bad for the Falcons. Isn't that a good thing for you?
No, because every time he plays against the Saints, he turns into Tom Brady.
Oh, well, then what about Michael Penix?
I do like me some Penix, though. But we never played against Penix. So when Penix starts sucking against us, pause, then what?
So I laughed at you because you were like, I do love me some Penix, and then you just like kept moving along, and then you made another joke, and you're like, that one's funny, and I'm like, what's that? The other one was funny.
Why? Because I said Penix sucks, and I said pause because it sounded like
No, because you said I love me some Penix, and then you just kind of rolled over that one.
Oh, I didn't hear what I said. Oh, that was crazy.
Vikings Seahawks in the obvious bowl. Who you got?
Yeah. This one, I have two predictions again. One, murder. Two, Seattle wins because one, Minnesota has no JJ McCarthy. Two, Minnesota has no quarterback even with JJ McCarthy. So give me Seattle to win this one.
I was about to say, how is JJ McCarthy being out a boon?
JJ McCarthy does not know how to play quarterback. I know that.
That's when I said it wrong. How is JJ McCarthy being out a bad thing for the Vikings? I guess is like in this particular situation. I don't know if it makes much of a difference. You said it like it was gonna change your perspective on the game.
No. Even if JJ McCarthy was playing, Seattle still wins in a landslide.
All right, Bills Steelers. We got Bills Steelers next in the Inconsistent Bowl.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Give me the Steelers to win in an upset.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna say two things. One, if you don't stop squeaking that chair, I'm gonna come down to New Orleans and I'm gonna punch you in the fucking face.
What did I do?
That squeaking is making me want to kill you. Get some fucking WD-40 or some shit.
What?
Get some WD-40 or some shit.
My bad.
Okay. Second, I don't entirely disagree with you. It kind of feels like the exact type of game that the Bills would lose and the exact type of game the Steelers would win. Yeah. I really, really, really don't want them to, though.
Too bad.
And so, yeah, you're probably right. Because of that, the Steelers probably going to win. I'm going to take the Steelers.
Steelers win 15-14.
If the Steelers won 15-14, I think I might just delete my channel. I think I would just delete my channel.
Why?
If the because look, if the Steelers beat the Bills, I'm already gonna be sad. But if I also have to deal with you coming on and being like, "Hey Kyle, what was the score of that game?" Huh? Maybe it isn't such a crazy. If both of those things happened in the same game, I don't know.
Well, I'm rooting for it.
I'm sure you'd already be rooting for it.
You're right.
All right. Raiders, Chargers.
Raiders.
No.
Well, you know what? You know what? Actually, before I explain why, however, if for some reason on the news you see that a plane crashed into the surface of the ocean, whose fault it would be, right? It'll be Geno Smith's fault.
I guess.
Because he told us to blame him for everything.
Okay. I think that if it weren't for the fact that the Raiders have already played the Titans this year and beaten them, I would probably have a pretty strong argument that the Raiders might actually be worse than the Titans. Because this is a very bad football team, and I don't give a shit that Omarion Hampton's not playing. The Raiders are very bad, and the Chargers are pretty good. And I'm usually one of the first people to hate on the Chargers and talk about how they're overrated and whatever, but they're gonna beat the fucking Raiders.
Oh, that's nice.
Max Brosmer is starting.
Good for him.
Raiders are so bad that calling them a dumpster fire is an insult to actual dumpster fires. The Raiders might be so bad that if you gave them our defense, they'd be like, wow, this is a slight downgrade.
No, they'll be like, nah, this is an upgrade, bro. I make the same joke though. Whenever someone in the chat says the Saints are trash, I always pick up my trash can and I'm like, I'm sorry, trash can. He did not mean to call you the Saints or the Saints or anything like you. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I got a nice fancy trash can now. It's got you put your foot on the thing and the door opens and it's like solid as a rock, and it makes me way happier than the Bengals defense.
This boy's more obsessed over a trash can than he is of his own game playing football. That's crazy.
Look at us on the Who Dey versus Who Dat podcast. We're dedicating a whole segment to trash cans because we're Bengals and Saints fans.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not by choice, though. I could have been an Eagles fan. My family didn't move to New Orleans so quick.
If I wasn't a Bengals fan, I think I've told you guys, I'm not going to repeat it.
Be a fan of no one. I understand.
No, that's not what I said. I'm not going to repeat. Well, no. Actually, no. No, that's not true. Because I've often had the thought that if I didn't grow up a Bengals fan, the inner like asshole in me probably would have like been a Steelers fan or something like that, just to fuck with everybody. But what I actually would have done is because it was kind of the direction I was trending until I just kind of decided, now fuck it, I'm going to be a Bengals fan. But when I was like 3, by the way, like pretty early, but I liked the Chiefs helmets, so I was probably going to be a Chiefs fan if I wasn't raised by such a diehard Bengals fan, and also growing up in Cincinnati and everything like that. I was kind of trending towards Chiefs. I was also kind of trending towards Jets too, so that could have been a very bad thing.
Oh wow!
But I also could have been a Jaguars fan because me and the Jaguars came into existence like when I was 3 years old, and to me it felt like very unique and interesting. But I also really kind of thought the Panthers were cool too. So I mean, there's a lot of teams that you can make an argument for, and then the Broncos too. My best friend growing up was a Broncos fan, and I really like John Elway, and so I mean I could have gone a lot of different directions. My guess is I probably would have gone with the Chiefs or the Broncos, and I'm one of those two teams. And the Chiefs probably would have won out because they're closer.
So we all, what we got out of that story Tom just told us is that he has friends.
I want to say I'm not friends with that guy anymore.
Why? Did he kill your family?
No, we just haven't. We haven't really talked in years. We don't really have anything in common anymore. Like we were friends.
Kyle used to have friends.
Well, I still have friends. Just don't. Me and that guy aren't really friends. I mean, like we're not like unfriend. We're not like we don't dislike each other. We don't really have anything in common. We don't run in the same circles at all, and I don't even know where he fucking lives anymore. So like, the last time, like I think the last time I saw him was like his graduation party, and that was like 2011. So okay,
crazy.
And now I think about it, I have no idea where he lives nowadays. Anyway, Giants Patriots. Oh wait, skip one. Broncos Commanders.
Is death on the table
between Broncos Commanders? Because it's going to be a blowout.
Yeah. Do you want to watch Marcus Mariota play football?
I kind of like Marcus Mariota. I'm not going to lie. I've always thought Mariota was like kind of underrated. He's like Cam Ward's going to have the same career arc as Mariota because he's going to end up flaming out in Tennessee because Tennessee's garbage, and then he's going to go be like a pretty good backup for other teams in the NFL.
So Marcus Mariota's give me Denver to win 16-15 because I said so. And yes, I'm only saying the scores that will make you upset.
Okay. Well, but here's the thing, Mikey. Like in this is the first. If there was ever a game where I was going to believe you that the scoreline was going to be like 15-14 or 16-15 or some dumb shit like that, I think a Broncos Commanders game would be the game that I would be, especially in like one that's in Washington. If there was ever going to be a game that it was going to end with a stupid score like that, it feels like this would be the game.
Yay! I'm not totally dumb with the score.
Not this time. Just all the other times.
Okay. I'm good with that.
Okay. So you're taking who you take? Yeah, I'm assuming the Broncos.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna also take the Broncos. Big hot take there. I'm gonna pick the Denver Broncos in 2025 to beat the Washington Commanders.
What?
Yeah, like watch out, y'all. I'm the next. I'm basically the next Stephen A. Smith.
Oh, well, I don't know. Eddie, it's not like I just predicted that too, but it's like I don't think anybody else ever thought. Isn't the Commanders' favorite to win this game?
Marvin Lewis is bad. See, I can be Stephen A. Smith.
The Saints suck. So can I.
There you go. There you go. Go or no? Is he a Cowboys fan or is he not a Cowboys fan?
He is a Cowboys hater.
He's a Cowboys hater. Okay.
One time he made a show just to dump on the Cowboys. He did a top 5 list of all their fans after they lost to the 49ers.
Is that because he actually hates the Cowboys, or is that because he did a show with Skip Bayless for so long?
I don't know, but every single time the Cowboys lose, he's the first one to say something about it.
Oh. So
like I remember one time on Thanksgiving, they played the Raiders a few weeks ago, and he did a video, and he was like, "I told y'all the Cowboys weren't gonna win, and I told you the Cowboys suck."
Who's his team?
The Steelers. I think.
You know what? That sounds about right. He is a piece of shit.
At least I think Google knows it, right? I'm just asking Google. I'm pretty sure he is a Steelers fan.
No,
I definitely know he's a Steelers fan because I remember talking about it. Yeah, he's a Steelers fan.
That sounds like a person who would be a Steelers fan. Yes, I agree.
I'm surprised you didn't know that.
I didn't know that. No. I believe you without you having to convince me. It sounds right.
How you doing, my brother? But yeah, Steelers, Stephen A. Smith, they.
Boo. Okay. Anyway, Giants, Patriots.
Hey, I'm just gonna say this. I predicted the Lions beat the Giants closely, and you gave me flack for it. So I got something right. But this game's gonna be close too. But I think Patriots win this one. Unfortunately, the era of Jameis with the Giants is over for now because Jackson Dart played. And how could you, Jackson Dart? Jameis Winston was going to lead the Giants to a 3-14 record.
Yeah.
Good pick.
Yeah. I agree. I'm going to take the Dolphins.
Do that all day. Yep.
You just going to move past that one.
Wait, hold on. What you say?
I said the Dolphins.
Boy, I'll stab you with this fork.
Speaking of the Dolphins, they're playing the Saints this week, so that's the next game we got to predict.
Do we know?
We do, yes.
What if I just walk out?
Well, you could do that, and then I'll pick for you.
Okay.
How many games are playing this week?
A lot.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. How is there 17 games? There's 17 games. There's not 34 teams in the NFL.
I'm counting 16.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, so where am I? So I definitely counted 17, but obviously I'm wrong and I'm off. Did I double one? Got the Jaguars, Browns, Texans, Falcons, Buccaneers, Rams, Seahawks, Steelers, Chargers, Broncos, Patriots. Oh, because the Bengals already played. That's why. Okay. All right. So this is I guess this is the last game since we always save our games for last, but the Bengals already played. So Saints Dolphins in a game that might actually be even worse than the other game that we were talking about being really. But what was it? The Falcons Jets game. This game might be worse.
Before I get my prediction, I just want to say this. Saints, I love y'all. Okay? And just because of what I'm about to say does not mean I'm not a Saints fan. In fact, it probably proves my case that I'm a Saints fan. I'm not one of these biased people that are going to tell you we're going to win every game because we're the Saints. That's not what I'm going to do. Because we're about to lose to the Dolphins. If we couldn't beat the Falcons, if we couldn't beat the – what else did we lose to? If we could – sorry, where's the schedule at? Get over here. If we couldn't beat the Falcons, the Rams, the Buccaneers, the Bears, now that I think about it, those are all good opponents that we lost to. But I don't care. Saints be better. But, man –
Shut up, Richard.
Except for what Richard do?
Richard said, imagine losing to the Bears. That's embarrassing. Fuck off.
But I'm just going to say this, though. Saints fans, fellow Saints fans watching, because I saw my boys come south in the chat. I saw Jerry in the chat. I'm going to say this for all of us. When the Saints lose on Sunday, I better see 15 different people get fired, including Gail Benson. But it's not going to happen.
I don't think Gail Benson can be fired.
She can fire herself.
No, she can't. She could sell the team, I guess, but
she already said she's not going to do that, so we got to get to the second option. Because her dumb tail did an interview the other day.
Well, okay, so yeah. I'm sure there's no interview where she's saying she's not going to fire herself.
No.
But it's not going to happen.
But also another thing, though. You know why we're going to lose this game? I'll give you 2 words. Devon A-Chain. There's not a soul on this defense that is going to keep up with Devon A-Chain. Especially, and also Jalen Waddle. He's going to torch us. You know why? Because I think Sugar Water is guarding him. And if you know something about Sugar Water, it's not Kool-Aid.
According to Mark, y'all are going to beat him.
What Saints do y'all want? We couldn't even beat the Falcons, and we had about the 1 yard line twice. I ain't here, bro. I love the Saints. I'm a Saints fan before anything else, but I'm an honest Saints fan. I'm not saying the Saints going 17-0 every year because I'm a Saints fan. I'm saying that we suck. And number 2 overall pick, here we come. I don't know if Belichick's the guy or not because he traded away the only guy capable of catching the ball. Saints lose. Okay, what's your prediction? Even though I already know what it is.
I think the Saints gonna win.
Huh?
No, not really.
I'm about to say, boy, even I wouldn't do that.
No, but for less cynical reasons than you. For me, it's because part of it's the Saints are bad. Like that's just. I don't have to explain that one, but the other one is that the Dolphins been on a bit of a win streak lately. You know, I don't look now, but I mean they beat the Falcons, and then they beat the Commanders by 3 points. But they beat the Bills, you know, and they also lost to the Ravens 28-6. But in the most absolutely mind-bendingly bad Thursday night football game I've ever watched in my life, to the point where I told Mikey that I was like, I don't want to keep doing this. Let's just let's not finish the stream, which is the first and hopefully last time that ever happens. It might happen. I'm not saying it won't ever happen again, but it's the first time that had ever happened before where I was just like, I don't like this game. Let's stop. That's how bad that game was.
Honestly, even though the game was bad, I would rather watch a replay of that game 2 times in one day than watch anything the Saints got going on. Because you know why? Because Mickey Loomis going to be up there smacking his gum. Man, you know what we need right now? Dennis Allen. You looking for a new job? Because I'm not a smart person, and I didn't even want to fire you. Can you come be our head coach now?
Does Mickey Loomis smack his gums a lot?
Yes. And it's annoying.
Okay. I've never heard Mickey Loomis talk in my life.
Good.
I don't think I ever will.
You better not. Man, this dude, man, we need Dennis Allen. Why? Because I'm in love with that boy. I don't know why I didn't fire him for 3 years.
Okay.
And we got to be the one suffering. I want y'all to know, Alontae Taylor's the first person that I ever saw do this. But then everybody else had to hop on the bandwagon.
Wait a minute. This is the first person you've ever seen give a double thumbs down?
During a football game? Yes.
Oh, well, okay. I mean, I still probably, I swear other people have done that, but.
Man, the Saints were the first team I saw do the Dougie, and no one cared. But then see the Stroud started doing it, or whatever it's called. The Stroud started doing it, and then everybody was like,
Richard is going hard on the Bears in the comments right now. Like, I mean, I get it. The Bears suddenly being good is very weird, but I mean, they are. Like, Caleb Williams is having a pretty good season. The Bears are like 7-4. Like, you got to respect that to some extent. Now, I understand their schedule has been, less than like. I mean, like, who have they beaten? The Bengals. That's fucking garbage. Even at that, they had to come. They had to come back and they almost let the Bengals come back and win, and then they did let the Bengals come back and win, and then the Bengals still lost, which is that's a new kind of pain that I didn't even know that.
Oh, you want to talk about pain? How about you losing? Some shout to Bears and all that. Amen to that. I mean, the Bears, they all right now, but you want to talk about pain? Let's talk about you losing to your former head coach, who's now the best offensive coordinator, and then not only do you lose them, but then he gives a whole ball post-game speech, and then he's like, "Man, I'm so better than those guys. I'm glad I'm here, not there."
So not that second part, but how about being a Bengals fan, and then your head coach who does a very, very bad job and gives you your worst record in your entire team's history that won't be repeated again until what is it? 19 years later. No, I'm sorry. 17 years later, when the Bengals do it again to go get Joe Burrow, goes on to. But by the way, at one time was a defensive coordinator for you who helped lead your team to a Super Bowl. Goes on to become your head coach, and then basically has to like leave in disgrace because like it was like an absolutely disastrous head coaching tenure. Maybe not all his fault, to be fair. But then goes on to be a undisputably Hall of Fame defensive coordinator with the Pittsburgh fucking Steelers and wins a Super Bowl with them.
Good for them. Well,
and then blows the fuck out of us.
Some South said the Bengals should have kept Nixon.
Nick, why?
I don't know.
What? Chase Brown's really good.
I don't even know who Nixon is, but he's
probably meant Nixon, but why? Like I mean, Joe Mixon's been hurt.
Thanks.
I mean, yeah, he looked like Joe Mixon looked pretty good with the Texans there for like 3 seconds, but then he got hurt, and this is why the Bengals moved on from him because he's old. And I mean, yes, Joe Mixon's a very talented player, but like Chase Brown's also really good, guys. But a lot of Bengals fans have said that, like when Mixon went on to look really good out the gate with the Texans, a lot of Bengals fans are like, "Oh, I can't believe we gave that guy away for a 7th round pick." But it's like, okay, but it was more like the Joe Mixon's career was coming to an end. It was pretty clear. And Chase Brown was looking pretty good and kind of needed an opportunity to become the guy. So it's just kind of like, at that point, yeah, it was time to move on from Joe Mixon. Like, I love Joe Mixon. Like, I had his poster in here, but then I rearranged my room and the poster just, didn't fit anymore. But like Joe Mixon's my boy, dude. Like, I enjoy Joe Mixon's career here, but it was time to move on.
Yeah, I mean, the thing with Joe Mixon, he's always been talented. I think still has talent in him. But and some South said y'all went to the Super Bowl with Mixon, Burrow, Chase, and that was a good offense. That is true, some South. But also,
that was in 2021. That was a fantastic thing, but it's been years since that happened. We can't just keep the same exact guys around.
Yeah,
although we do still have T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Joe Burrow, so maybe we can. Yeah. I don't know.
like I understand Joe Mixon is a talented running back, but it's like the running back age cliffs just started, hindering him. And he did have a good year last year with Houston or whenever he went there, but
Yeah,
I mean, he hasn't even played a single game this season. So
Chase Brown still looks really good for us, and that's exactly what is. A lot of people sometimes talk about the Bengals like not moving on from players, like moving on from players too late, and then they end up having problems because of that. With Joe Mixon, I think they may have gotten off the Joe Mixon train like maybe a year too early, but part of the reason for that is because they had a guy in Chase Brown who needed more playing time. And if you waited another year to give it to him, then it might have been too late for Chase Brown. So I think it was the right time to move on from Joe Mixon. Now, maybe they could have done it in like a less like shitty way because they kind of like blindsided Joe Mixon with that whole thing. But I love Joe Mixon, but it was time to move on.
yeah, Slim South. T. Higgins was also on that team as well.
Yeah, he was. He made an incredible catch.
Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah. Jamar Chase and Jalen Ramsey really had a great game against or Jamar Chase and T. Higgins really had a great game that day against Jalen Ramsey. The problem is
Ramsey's washed, and no one wanted to listen to me. But
yeah, and I mean Ramsey honestly has always kind of struggled with the Bengals. Like, going back to when him and AJ Green got in a fight in the middle of the field, it was hilarious. But like Jalen Ramsey's always been
versus Marshawn Lattimore. Whenever they would always go against each other.
Jalen Ramsey's always been a punk when it comes to the Bengals, and he's never really had like great results against us. Up and down here and there, but for the most part, Jalen Ramsey's results have never really been particularly great against us. And they weren't in the Super Bowl. It just happened to be that the Bengals' offensive line was so bad that it kind of masked all the flaws that Jalen Ramsey had.
Yeah, I mean, Jamar Chase burnt Ramsey on the last play of the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the Bengals, Jamar Chase had that game won. It's just Aaron Donald won it faster.
Yeah, I mean, and this is why I say, like, a lot of people, like, I don't know why, but a couple of people were blaming Joe Burrow after that game on the internet. I'm like, what's Burrow supposed to do when Aaron Donald is going to turn him into a grilled cheese sandwich? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Joe didn't have time to see Jamar Chase make his move. Like, by the time Jamar Chase makes that move, Aaron Donald is in Joe Burrow's face. Like, what happened is he tried to get the ball to Samaje Perine, who was open, but even then he didn't have enough time to get it to him. And
Joe Burrow didn't even have enough time to think who his mom was.
Exactly. It was over because in that particular case, because Orlando Spain whiffed. And it sucks because Orlando Spain was a good guard for us. Like a good spot starting guard. He wasn't like the greatest guard on the planet, but he was a pretty solid guy. And he definitely wasn't the problem with that offensive line that year. But it was on a Quentin Spain play where that play happened, and that's how the game ended, is on a whimper, and then Matt Stafford gets his trophy, and everybody on the planet is happy for Matt Stafford. Even me, I was like, well, at least Matt Stafford won a Super Bowl, and at least Aaron Donald won a Super Bowl. But at the same time, Odell Beckham and Jalen Ramsey won Super Bowls, and that's not a world I want to live in.
What Odell Beckham do to you?
Odell Beckham's a punk. Like, he didn't do anything to me, but he's a punk.
I mean,
just like Jalen Ramsey, he's a punk.
Odell Beckham kind of reminds me of Michael Thomas a little bit. Which, like,
I'd say he's fairly similar. He's had a much more successful career than Michael Thomas, but
I mean, kind of, but it's like,
he definitely put up better numbers than Michael Thomas, and he's got a lot more memorable moments than Michael Thomas, and he also won a Super Bowl.
Did he though?
I mean, he was injured, but Odell Beckham made a couple of plays early in that game that definitely panned out for the Rams in the long run of that game. So I would say that, as much as I don't like to say it, Odell Beckham deserved that ring as much as any injured player ever deserves any ring.
Yeah, I'm not going to debate that, but the thing with it, it's like, I mean, Thomas, I mean, he had that magical 2019 season, I think that was the year where he had that record-breaking reception record season where I think he also won Offensive Player of the Year that year. So I'm just saying, I mean, they both had, like, great accomplishments. I mean, obviously nothing's going to beat the Super Bowl ring unless you get 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9. But it's like,
But I guess what I'm saying about Michael Thomas is Michael Thomas was like had one little tiny window where he was like really good, and outside of that, he was mostly just not there. Whereas like Odell Beckham Jr. had a really extended career, and not every single season was his best, but he was a pretty solid contributor at one point or another for every team he played for.
Yeah, if you want to look at Zion Williamson, if he played in the NFL, you got Michael Thomas. Super talented, but couldn't, okay, now some South says, trust me, 2018 MT, he was going to get a ring, but we got robbed. Amen, some South. I still can't believe it, man. You know how different the career of most of the Saints players would have been if we didn't get robbed by the stupid referees?
No, I completely agree. Michael Thomas definitely didn't throw the interception at the end of the game. He got totally robbed.
Bruh, for the last stop. It was not supposed to be a pick. Michael Thomas was held on the route, so that should have been a penalty also. And I'm not making this up.
Drew Brees still threw a pick.
Okay, I think so did Joe Burrow.
When? I mean, he's thrown plenty of picks in his career, but not that many.
No, well, why did Joe Burrow almost get sacked versus Aaron Donald?
That wasn't even remotely his fault. Like,
neither was Drew Brees' interception.
That was more okay. So I understand what you're saying, and I'm mostly fucking with you anyway. But I hold on a minute. I think that interception for Drew Brees was a little more his fault than Joe Burrow getting sacked by Aaron Donald, who was basically uncovered because Quentin Spain decided to turn into a fucking like pixie in that moment.
And also, if you want to get really picky with it, Drew Brees got hit when he threw the ball against the Rams. So, like, I mean, was that really his fault either? Like, that's literally the same thing that happened to Joe Burrow. So,
but Joe Burrow didn't throw a pick.
But he did throw a turnover, though.
Does that count as a turnover?
Yes. It might not count as a turnover on the stat sheet, but it counts as a turnover on downs.
Well, yeah, but I mean, because the game's basically over, like.
Exactly. So Burrow, like, and I was defending Burrow earlier, but now you got the hurricane out.
Yeah,
but I think I'll die on that hill. I'll kill myself on that hill. I'll kill anyone on that hill. The hill will be died on.
I think you're reaching a little bit, though, is what I'm saying.
No. Okay, maybe I'm reaching a little tiny bit, but at the end of the day, when you're almost at the age of 40 and your body gets hit when you throw the football, and also Michael Thomas gets held on the route, what do you think's going to happen? Well, Michael Thomas is going to, even though he's getting held, he's going to like teleport into the football? What you want from him?
Maybe Drew Brees should have retired then if he wasn't good at football anymore. If that's what you're telling me, what you're telling me is he's not good enough at football to make that play, maybe he shouldn't be playing.
First of all, he was literally an MVP candidate that year. Second of all,
didn't look like an MVP candidate on that play.
Okay, and Mahomes threw pick sixes before, and Brady started the interceptions.
Mahomes is overrated as fuck.
Okay, what? So what? Tom Brady's overrated too because he threw some interceptions?
He didn't throw that interception.
Brett Favre is number one in the NFL history with interceptions, and yet he's still a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Sure. I didn't say Drew Brees isn't a Hall of Fame quarterback, first of all.
You said, Bola.
I did not say Drew Brees is not a Hall of Fame quarterback. I said maybe if he's not good at football, he shouldn't be playing football. I didn't say he was never good at football. I was saying your argument just now was that he's too old to be playing football well, therefore maybe he should not have been playing football.
That's not what I said.
What
I said was Drew Brees. What I said was Drew Brees was almost at the age of 40. So when your body gets hit while you throw a pass and Michael Thomas gets held,
Yeah.
it's not going to go the way you want.
So
Never in that sense was I like Breeze was too old for football.
We do a podcast about this sport called football, where when people are on the field, sometimes they get hit by other people, and they still are supposed to perform their jobs correctly when that happens. Don't tell Isaiah Likely.
Were you talking to me or somebody else?
I was just throwing that jab in there because I really wanted to.
Okay. Well, anyways, okay, well, Isaiah Likely, he chilling, but I'm
He's
not
not
gonna let
chilling
this.
right now. He deleted his Instagram.
Oh
Oh
damn!
no, I'm sorry, that was Zay Flowers.
See, the reason Drew had to end it because of those fractured ribs, not his fault. Like that's another point. I feel like Breeze would have stuck around one more year if Contavious Street didn't bust every single rib Drew Brees had.
Maybe,
like that's when he really gave it up.
Then maybe he should have retired after that.
I'm
just saying, if he was,
repeat the question,
or maybe not retired. Maybe this is why you have a backup quarterback. Did you have like Jameis Winston or some shit?
Yeah.
So put Jameis Winston in. He'll probably.
We did.
He'll probably he would have thrown a touch. He would have thrown a pick and a touchdown on the same play because that's what Jameis Winston does.
Okay,
and
first
the
of
game
all,
would have ended in a tie in the NFC Championship game.
First of all, we're talking about different seasons. We're talking about why Drew Brees retired. And that was in the 2020 season. And like some said, we still made the playoffs. Like the reason Brees retired was not because of his age. Well, obviously he's going to retire because of his age, but he retired mainly because his ribs were like, boom. So when that happens, and also he punctured his lungs too. What?
I was just responding to what you guys were saying. If it was irrelevant information, then fair enough. You're even more wrong now.
Okay, now let's take you back to the year 2009, right? Drew Brees made all the plays to win the Super Bowl. Now let's fast forward.
Really good in 2009.
Now let's fast forward to year 2018.
Oh yeah, 9 years later.
That same dude is 10 years older, getting hit because his offensive line turned into some crab cakes. So then he throws interception because the referees are blinder than Stevie Wonder if he had no eyes, which he technically did. And he still doesn't.
Maybe you shouldn't let that game go to overtime in the first place.
You see, maybe the game went to overtime if the referees know how to do their jobs. You see, when you get hired somewhere, you're expected to do your job. So if you don't do your job, you get fired. So referee should have got fired before the game went to overtime.
So the refs were responsible for every single touchdown that was scored on the Saints that day, and also didn't do anything in the Saints' favor at all during that game, is what you're telling me.
Well, I'm not saying the Saints don't. Look, I'm not saying the Saints were perfect and the Saints absolutely deserved. Like obviously the Rams. But like, what did you expect us to do? You really thought we were gonna like shut the Rams out or something? Like we already knew it was gonna be a good game because of that fact. When it's a good game, that's why it stings that much more. Because not only was it the worst no call in NFL and probably professional sports history, but then it was also in the NFC fucking championship game against the Rams, who we should not lose to in that game.
I guess what I'm saying is, as a fan of a team that has a history of getting screwed over by the refs over and over and over and over and over again, my philosophy has become, maybe you should just try to like not let the refs have the chance to ruin that game for you in the first place.
So what? You just want us to play games without refs?
No, I want you to play better than the refs.
How? What if the Rams players just held us the entire game and they just had everybody down and they just started kicking degrees and kneecaps? Are we still supposed to beat the refs then?
So so how about this? Very, very, very similar situation. The 2022. No, 21. No, 22. The 22 AFC Championship game. Same situation. I don't think it was in overtime. I think this was right beforehand. Oh wait, no, that was the Patrick Mahomes thing. That completely different, also stupid situation, but that was more of a that's more of an idiot thing with the rule book than the ref doing something bad. But so never mind. It wasn't the AFC Championship where that happened, and I could have a lot of gripes about things that did happen in the AFC Championship. But the thing I'm thinking of was a regular season game between the Bengals and the Chiefs, where Dejon Anthony gets called for pass interference when all he did was just make regular football contact, relatively incidental contact on a ball that wasn't even catchable anyway, and they're calling it pass interference because the guy dove into Dejon Anthony, who literally just jumped up in the air, and the receiver like just basically dove backwards into him. And yet my perspective coming out of that game was like the Bengals shouldn't have let the Chiefs get to that point in the first place. You had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to put this game away, and you let it come down to that play, and you let the refs come in and do what the refs do, which is give Patrick Mahomes wins.
I understand that. But if the Saints were to, let's say the Saints blow out the Rams, you know what they're always going to say? Man, y'all are playing the Rams, bro. Like the Rams, they're frauds. Obviously, if they can't score on the Saints. But then the Saints play a close game against the Rams, and then it's all, man, y'all should have blew out the Rams. Like you see, you can't win in that scenario. It's like the game was obviously going to be close. Nobody going into the game expected it to be a landslide for either team.
Well, it sounds like what you're saying is what you should have done is meet the expectations, because what you're saying is nobody would have been impressed if you had met the expectation that to beat the Rams as you were supposed to. So that's not winning, that you just met the expectation. Everybody's like, oh, I'm not that impressed. Well, then you go win the Super Bowl, and if everybody's still not impressed, you're like, well, okay, we won a Super Bowl, so fuck off.
All right, well, another thing that some South said, it depends on the situation that the ref dictates calls. That's another thing. We've seen it time and time and time again. If the referees want a team to win, they will make them win. Because now, I'm not going to get on the scripted bandwagon, even though it is a little bit scripted. But I'm not even going to bring that up right now.
It's not. I agree. I will agree with you that I think sometimes the refs influence the outcomes of games. There's probably refs out there who do it with like intentions on the line. That's not the same thing as being scripted, though. Being scripted means like they script it. That's not happening.
If the referees wanted someone to win, they can make that team win. They could throw, can throw bogus flags over and over.
They could, but they've first of all never ever done that. Like that has literally never happened. No, they didn't. Like they threw a bogus flag, and they probably were a couple other bogus flags. What you're saying is they could do it on every play to make a team win, and that's never happened because that's never going to happen. And it's a ridiculous scenario that I understand you're using to illustrate a point, but I'm pointing out that it makes your point seem stupid.
Okay. Well, some South brought up the tuck rule. That's another example. The referees had to make a whole different rule in the middle of the game just to make themselves look like they didn't want the Patriots to win that game. Like I'm just saying, with the amount of like bets that be going on, with the amount of bribes players get, I'm just saying, referees, if they want a team to win, they will make them win. They will, like, bro, you know, they don't have to throw a flag every play, but like, you know, we've seen plenty of games. The tuck rule, no call, the Fail Mary, like a bunch of other games that was influenced by some poor officiating. You can't beat the ref if the ref's gonna beat them in the process. Like, okay, I understand. Yeah, sometimes you can beat the refs in some situations. But when the ref calls a flag, or when the ref does not call a flag, when you are already deep in the field goal range and you're about to beat the Rams, I'm sorry, there is no coming back from that because the referee already demoralized the team because everybody's pissed off. So then you go to overtime and then you don't know what the fuck to do because you're already demoralized because the ref's out.
No. One thing I've never understood. Why I understand people are like the tuck rule bad. Okay. The NFL was pretty consistent with it after that game. So, and they were kind of consistent with it leading up to that game. So I understand tuck rule bad, but also the tuck rule is one of the most overrated examples in NFL history of pointing something out as like referee nonsense. But what if that's an example of the NFL being rigged, why the Patriots? Why the like? I get in the long run, the Patriots became a moneymaker for the NFL. I get where you could maybe make that conspiracy theory connect. But in 2001, why the Patriots?
Because the Patriots didn't win a Super Bowl up to that point, so they wanted to push the
So?
Patriots out there. Yeah, Spygate was another thing.
But you had the you had the greatest show on turf going in for a second one, from an NFL perspective. Like there's so many other things. Like I've heard people talk about, a 2001 because of the terrorist attacks. People wanted the Patriots because of patriotism. But then why wouldn't the refs have rigged it for the New York Jets, the New York team that was pretty good that year? Why didn't they get the special treatment? Against the Raiders, by the way, who beat them in the wild card round.
Well, that's because no one likes the Jets.
Or I don't know, like the Rams are an example of a team that, from a football perspective, you can see why the NFL would have wanted to push that team. I don't like to admit it, but the Ravens would have been another team, because coming off of that big Super Bowl win, that all-time great defense, keep that train moving. You could see the NFL wanting to rig it for them. There's so many teams that would have made more sense to rig the game for in 2001 than Tom fucking Brady and the New England Patriots and Bill Belichick, who at that point was kind of being seen at that time as a bit of a pariah in the NFL. And only kind of happened.
The Patriots? Because they were an underdog story. Brady was a sixth-round pick.
Nobody liked the Patriots. Nobody liked the Patriots back then. It was an underdog story that pissed everybody off.
And that's why the NFL wanted the Patriots to succeed.
No, that doesn't make any sense. From a business perspective, the Patriots were from a small town, Foxborough, Massachusetts. They maybe represented a slightly larger metropolitan area, but they're from a small town. It's a relatively small market, the New England Patriots. They're a team that's run by a coach who, as I said, was a bit of a pariah in the NFL at that point because, his connection to the bullshit that happened with the Browns, and then the fact that he, basically screwed over the Jets a couple years ago. And then a Patriots team who was not popular in the NFL. Nobody really paid any attention to this team. The last time anybody paid attention to them was when they got smacked by the Chicago, the all-time great 1985 Chicago Bears. And outside of that, they also lost to the Packers with Drew Bledsoe. But the Patriots were of all teams back then. Obviously now it's different. Now the Patriots are like a powerhouse, NFL when the Patriots are good, it gets eyes on the NFL. But in 2001, the Patriots were not that. In 2001, the Patriots were one of the most irrelevant franchises in sports history.
Yeah, well,
the Patriots were the Falcons. The reputation the Falcons have now, that's what the Patriots were back then.
Yeah, look, I'm not saying, Robert Kraft has power. That's another point to himself. But another thing, right?
He didn't have that much power at the time, though.
I understand, but look, you know what? A lot of people in the NFL, like Roger Goodell and them, a lot of people, they want to push dynasty. So why you choose Patriots? They had 6th-round QB in Tom Brady, and their head coach was Bill Belichick at the time. Those are pretty two arguments.
In 2003, I'll give you maybe you could if you find 1,000 pieces of it, I could grant you that maybe you could find people in the NFL who wanted the Patriots to make their dynasty happen. In 2001, there was zero indication that anything like that was going to happen. I remember 2001. It was weird that the Patriots were winning so many games at the end of that season. Nobody saw that coming. And not a lot of there were people who were rooting for the chaos for the Patriots to pull off the whole big thing. And I sure liked seeing them beat the Steelers, but at the same time, it was just it was kind of out of nowhere. Nobody had any idea it was going to happen. It meant nothing to anybody except, like I said, some people were like, oh, Patriots, we love America. And that was kind of a narrative, but it definitely wasn't the type of narrative that the NFL would create a whole conspiracy over.
I'm just saying, there's some stuff that can't really be explaining the detail. And boy, when I tell you the Patriots, man, like I don't know. Like, I mean, you saw how much times the Patriots even got help even before their dynasty. So I don't know why God just chose the Patriots to be this ultimate team or the NFL. I don't know why. But it's like, thing is, the point that I was trying to make is that the Patriots, the small team, the Chiefs, they were a small team. The Saints, they were a small team before 2009. Like a lot of Super Bowl champions come from small teams. You got to start somewhere. So why was it the Patriots? Because they drafted Tom Brady in the 6th round, and Bill Belichick was a first-time. Well, I don't know if that was his first time head coaching, but I know it was one of his, premium jobs. And also, who really gave a care about the Raiders ever since John Madden left?
Okay,
like,
so
two people that are diehard Raider fans.
listen. If the NFL was scripted, I promise you, Brock Purdy would have 3 rings by now. I promise you, Brock Purdy, the San Francisco 49ers, would have been if everything you were saying just now was like actually fact and stuff, the 49ers in the current version of the 49ers would be running away with the NFL right now. It wouldn't even be close.
Look, I'm not saying it's scripted, but I'm saying some stuff that the NFL does, they might have some money on. Like, maybe they don't have money on, like, all the games. Maybe the 49er games aren't betted on. But I'm just saying, like, especially with that Rams game, they all wanted the Rams to win because they're back in Los Angeles, and they wanted to boost them up in their brand new house. Like, they wanted the Rams to win that game. Nobody other than Saints fans or people that like Drew Brees wanted the Saints to win that game. Everybody wanted the Rams to win because they were underdogs, man. And the Rams, they have this great story and stuff. They're going to go beat the Patriots just to lose 13-3.
I agree with some things that you were just saying, and I completely disagree with that. So I agree with you about the NFL wanting to push the Rams. I don't think anybody's disagreeing with that. I don't know if they were rigging games over it, but I do agree that the NFL really wanted the Rams to be good that year. So maybe there was some stuff going on in the background. I don't know, but they didn't win the Super Bowl, so obviously they didn't rig it that fucking hard.
Exactly. You know why? Because they're playing against the Patriots, and if there's one guy that the NFL cannot stand to see lose, it's Tom Brady.
Your logic makes no sense. You can only have one winner at the end of each season. The NFL can't be rigging multiple storylines because to try to like lead to like multiple different outcomes, because there's only going to be one outcome.
Well, one, it's the Saints. And ever since Bountygate, everybody's been having a bounty on the Saints, saying, we hate the Saints, we hate the Saints, we hate the Saints.
Not everybody. Even in like I remember 2018. I remember there were a lot of people who were still like wanting the Saints to, I mean, it wasn't like it was in 2009. I'll give you that. There were definitely more people who were anti-Saints because of that. There were a lot more people who were very loud about like the Saints and Bountygate and stuff like that. But there were a lot of people who really liked the fact that the Saints were kind of coming back. I know you probably didn't get that experience because you, as a Saints fan, I'm assuming heard pretty much all of the positive stuff from within the Saints fans and stuff like that, and you mostly heard all the negative stuff. I know because I do the same thing as a Bengals fan, but I can promise you from a neutral perspective, the Saints were not this pariah like you were. You're acting like they were.
Yeah, well, okay, so the thing, right, and I was listening to both sides of the argument, and I could see both sides of the argument. I really could. Over the years, I may seem like I'm just this guy where it's like Saints, but at the end of the day, I'm a fair man, okay? However, when everybody in the world is saying that was a flag, and the only person that said that was not a flag was the referee standing right there, that leads you to know something went down. Because there's no reason that Stephen A. Smith saw it from his TV, that all the analysts saw it from the TV. People saw it from the stands. Sean Payne saw it on the sideline. But the only guy to not see it was a flag was the referee standing on the sideline. That proves something went down. Because he was even reaching for the flag, but then the ref talked about it, and he was like, nah, I'm going to keep it in my pocket. That's how you know something went down.
I'm gonna go ahead and go out on a limb. First of all, this is just a nitpick, but I'm just gonna go ahead and say that I wouldn't bring up Stephen A. Smith as like the first guy you bring up when you're like, if this guy, like this guy was saying that it was bad. Yeah, well, I don't know if that's the guy I would point out as like my evidence that it was clear. Like that's not. We're not talking about Stephen Hawking here. We're talking about Stephen A. Smith. Okay,
But
like
my point is, like, every single
guy's big
person
dummy.
in the universe, maybe some Rams fans are still delusional, but everybody in the universe that watched that game and knows anything about football saying that's a penalty. But the only group of people that disagreed that was a penalty, the referees on the field that were standing right there. I'm pretty sure everybody, if you bring out anybody, they don't even have to know what football is. I'm pretty sure you go on Madden and you turn off the pass interference sliders and you try to recreate that bull crap, I guarantee you flags are out. And you know how I know? Because I tried that one time and they even threw a flag and I turned the sliders off.
I'll tell you that you're wrong, and I'll tell you why you're wrong. Because you said everybody in the universe said thought that was a flag when it happened. And I promise you that's not true because I did not. Now let me hedge that with saying that is not my opinion. Now I have rewatched that play several times. I'm like, that was obviously like, are you out of your fucking mind? I was also watching on TV, paying half attention, and so when it happened, I'm like, I didn't even think like there should be. I went on later that day to find out people were losing their minds because that should have been a penalty. I'm like, wait, what penalty? What are you talking about? And people are like, oh, there was a big pass interference. I'm like, no, there wasn't. And then again later on, I went on to go watch the replay. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I see what they're talking about, right? But I didn't at the time. So that's wrong. What?
You said you were paying half attention.
Yeah, that's what you said. Everybody.
How many replays?
There are people in the universe who didn't watch the game, Mikey.
Okay, so let me rephrase the question or the statement. Everybody in the universe that watched that game playing 100% attention, acting like that's the only thing happening in the world.
You're whittling down your sample size here, is my point.
Boy, even me saying this, it's at least like 500 people. At least.
Okay.
I guarantee you can get 500 people. I guarantee you Helen could have been standing on that side. I mean, like
100. Okay, so I'm 100% sure of two things. 100% sure that Helen Keller would not have seen a damn thing. Another thing that I'm 100% sure of is it was far more than 500 people who were paying close attention during that play.
That's why I said at least.
Yeah, it was so, but I mean, look, it was one of the most consequential football games of the season and one of the most consequential moments. I guarantee you there's probably tens of thousands of people who were paying attention.
Like, I'm pretty sure everybody agrees that game was more important than the Super Bowl was that year. And it was so bad, Saints fans boycotted the whole thing.
No, I don't think that it was more important than the Super Bowl. I think you could make the argument that if the Saints had won that game, the Super Bowl would have been different. But I don't think it was more important than the Super Bowl.
Bruh, I know a lot. Bruh, there is a reason. First of all, the Super Bowl was in Atlanta, so the Falcon fans definitely had something going on. Okay, so maybe Falcon fans also agree that was not a call because they're stupid. But so not
I'll
only
give you that one.
So not only was the Super Bowl in Atlanta, so the Atlanta fans probably went up to Roger Goodell and be like, "Hey, you like the moolah?" But also, that was the worst rated Super Bowl of all time. And before you say, I'm just going to look at the numbers. I guarantee you it's not what you think it is.
Yeah, also Mark makes a good point. Mark also makes a good point that Nickel Roby Coleman even said he was surprised it wasn't a flag.
That's even the guy that committed the flag said it was a
flag. But it wasn't though.
But it was.
But it wasn't though, because it didn't get called. Therefore, it wasn't. It may have been an illegal play, but it was not a flag because a flag was not thrown.
Man, that's like saying you're not going to eat breakfast, or that's like saying you're not going to eat at all the rest of your life because you're not eating right now.
No, that's not what I'm saying. No, that's like saying that I'm not going to eat That's more like saying I have never eaten in my life because I have never eaten in my life. That's not true, but I also wouldn't say that. But if I had never eaten in my life and somehow was still alive, that would be like saying that. But it also wouldn't be like saying that because there's not really another side to that. My point being, it was not a flag because the flag did not get thrown, so it wasn't a flag.
Some South
It was a penalty, and it was an illegal play, but it wasn't a flag because a flag indicates that it was called.
Yeah, I bet 2 + 2 = 5 too, huh?
How is what I'm saying not logical to you? Like, it might be stupid. I give you that, but how is it not logical?
Slim South brings up a good point. Coleman had T-Rex hands, and he was looking for flag. I don't know if you know, but when that flag happened, he was even shaking his head. But then he's like, "Oh shoot, I can do whatever I want." Yeah, we stopped.
Well, I mean, look, at the end of the day, the Rams won that football game, so
At the end of the day, they still suck.
it did win the football game, though.
I don't care. In my eyes, the Saints won that game. I don't care what the record states.
Well, in my eyes, the Bengals won all 3 of their Super Bowls. So, just saying. I don't care what the record states.
The Rams did not win that game. The referees won that game. There's a difference. The Rams might have been the name that went on, but the referees were the true winner of that game.
So you're talking about the NFC Championship game.
Yes.
Because you could almost not as strongly, because it is a really not like as much as I'm fucking with you is a really strong case, and I'm not gonna lie about that. But there's also a decently strong case to make that the Rams or the refs were the reason the Rams won that Super Bowl too.
What, against the Bengals?
Yeah, because of that call on Logan Wilson.
And I agree that was a bogus call.
Yeah, and I mean people talk about like makeup call because of T. Higgins, but like that T. Higgins play was earlier in the game. The Logan Wilson call was at like a pivotal like moment of the game. Like there's no real coming back from that happening, especially with Aaron Donald playing the way he's playing.
Yeah. Some South said it was a whole boycott, worst Super Bowl watch that year. That's like it was literally stated that game was the least viewed, and you know why? Because most of the Saints fans and some people around the world did not watch that game, and they were not missing out because boy, the Rams should have not been in that Super Bowl, man. Like what are you supposed to do when the referees are basically holding the Rams' hand throughout the entire playoff run because they just had
I'll tell you one thing. I was absolutely thrilled at the outcome of that game. I was so happy that the Rams won that game. You know why?
Why?
Because I really wanted Tom Brady to win another Super Bowl ring. And as you were saying earlier, I thought that the Saints were probably going to win if they got to the Super Bowl. But I really wanted Tom Brady to win another Super Bowl because it means that the Steelers can't be arrogant about having 6 rings anymore because now one single player has 6 rings. And
you could have rooted for him to get a 6th ring later.
What?
You could have rooted for him to get a 6th ring later.
Well, you're actually correct. I didn't know that at the time. I figured this might be Tom Brady's last shot at the time. Then he went on to win 7 rings, which just I was just like, so the Steelers don't even have as many rings as one single player does, and it really is one single player this time because he left his old team and won a Super Bowl with the new team. Could have won 2, but refs.
Oh, don't give me that.
I'm just saying, like, do the refs hate Tom Brady?
Nah, but they hate Drew Brees though.
Look. Okay. Actually, I was joking about the Tom Brady thing, but let's rewind it for a second. If there is a player that the refs have been on the jockstrap of more than they ever were for Tom Brady, it's Patrick Mahomes.
Well, yeah, that's no duh, but it's like
right, and that was the Super Bowl that Tom Brady lost that I'm talking about here. The other ones were Eli Manning, and it was the Giants didn't win the Super Bowls because of the refs or anything like that. But
what about the time that Brady beat Mahomes?
Oh yeah, I am talking about that. What was the one he lost? Didn't he lose one with Tampa?
He lost with Nick. He lost against Nick Foles and Eli Manning with New England.
Yeah,
He only made it one time in Tampa.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know why I said that. For whatever reason, I don't know. I guess I think I mixed up the Nick Foles Super Bowl and thought that was in Tampa for some reason. But you're right. You're right.
I'm always right.
Okay, look. Out of this whole conversation. By the way, we're about to in 20. I'm sorry, in 35 minutes. It's going to be at 2 hours, so we need to wrap this up.
Okay.
I have to work in the morning.
Cool. Some South said Brady B. Holmes. That's literally what I said. Thank you, Some South, for actually knowing ball. Unlike this idiot down here, but you know what?
You know what?
What?
You know what?
What?
I agreed with you. I agreed with you about pretty much everything. The only thing I've ever disagreed with you about when it comes to the NFC Championship game was the bullshit reaction, the understandable emotional reaction. That's not what I'm saying, but the reaction that Saints fans had and getting the rules fucking changed and everything like that. That's where I drew the line. I'm joking with you about this game. Obviously, the Saints should have won that game. I've never genuinely argued that other than fucking with Mikey. The reaction to get the rules changed, though, I hated that.
I mean, I didn't even 100% agree with getting the rules changed. I just thought the referees should be better at their job, so we didn't need that.
Well, I think we can all agree on that. Like, I don't think that's ever been a controversial thing to say.
Like, I understand that people make mistakes, but the amount of mistakes the referees make, they gotta do something bad. Like they be cheating like a mug, bro. Ain't nobody can be that clumsy. I mean, oopsie, I'm gonna throw a flag. Ooh, that was not flag though.
You think that, but the refs really are that incompetent.
Exactly. There ain't no way these are mistakes.
But they are though. That's the crazy thing.
Some might, but some are extremely egregious.
I'm not going to say that there isn't some. I'm not going to say that there isn't, because we know there is. There's been refs who have come out and admitted it. That they made calls for the sake of like gambling and stuff like that. That has been something that at least one ref came out and admitted to. So I'm not saying that doesn't happen. What I'm saying is the level that people act like it's happening at is probably not true. It's probably a lot of it's a very difficult job to do. It's a very fast-paced job to do, and it's probably just a lot of incompetence and poor training on the NFL's part is what I think it is.
Yeah, look, I mean, you can have your opinions, I can have mine, but I think there's something we can all agree on.
That I absolutely can come to the table with you and agree that you are allowed to be wrong.
I was going to say that the referees don't know how to call anything.
They do sometimes. The referees are very, very good.
That's what I was thinking of himself when that dude went to jail for fixing games.
The referees are very, very good at correctly calling when a penalty happens by the stupidest but most accurate version of the definition of a rule. The referees are very good at calling that. I have very rarely seen the referees miss something that is a really stupid call to make, but also by the definition of how the NFL defines it is actually a penalty. Very rarely do I see the refs miss those kind of calls. They're almost always on top of that one. Like, oh, that guy's clearly, obviously taunting, as what it says in Rule 48, Section 43-B. In the we hate the NFL fans clause, like that they're really good at like being encyclopedic about their knowledge about the dumbest rules that exist. They're really good at that part.
Yeah, I mean, some rules just don't. Shouldn't we wrap this up now? My phone's about to die.
Yeah, we should. I said that 5 minutes ago and we're still going. But I also said that an hour ago and we're still going. So anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it. Bengals got the win yesterday, which made me happy. And season ain't over yet. It's probably going to be over soon, but it ain't over yet. And the Saints, well,
our season's been over since week 3.
I think y'all season's been over since like week 12 of last year.
No, that's probably when we actually had life.
Your
That's
quarterback,
probably when we had hope for this season.
your quarterback was Derek Carr, though.
But then his album was fired around that time, so it was like, hey, we
Oh,
might get
okay.
some.
All right.
we might
Well,
get some substance.
anyway, we actually do.
Wait, hold on. So,
God damn it.
So, hey, some South has a question that might benefit
Okay,
you. He
fine.
said, "What's your channel?
Huh?
What's your channel?"
Yeah, because you're watching on Mikey's
Yeah.
thing. So it's just my name is Kyle Phelps. If you put it into YouTube, it's youtube.com/@WTTJ. So
basically, Kyle Phelps, you just do that.
yeah, I mean, I think if you type in Kyle Phelps, my name will probably come up, especially if the YouTube algorithm knows you're a sports guy. It'll probably come in if you just put my name. But like I call the show Welcome to the Jungle. I don't know.
If it doesn't work, you just do Kyle Phelps Bengals. And it's like that's how I find my name. Hurricane Mike Saints. I'll just type in Hurricane Mike.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. You do have to put in Hurricane Mike Saints though, because if you don't, you will find just a bunch of hurricane coverage.
Yeah, I was not that smart coming up. I mean, it was a name that fit me, but it's like why did there have to be Hurricane Mike?
Not as well as my name fit me though, because it is my name.
Well, I did not take the lazy route.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I didn't make my channel's name. First of all, my show's name is Welcome to the Jungle, but I named my YouTube channel my name partially. It wasn't as much of a lazy thing as it was partially like. I mean, first of all, I was trying to when I first kind of started really trying to like make this channel a thing. I was trying to emulate Tom Grossi, and he named his channel after him. So I figured, part of it's building the brand. Yeah, maybe at first naming your channel after yourself isn't necessarily going to like give you a big boost in the beginning, but in the long run, people will remember you more because your name is the channel's name.
Yeah, I mean, I named my channel at first, and you probably remember this. I named mine's Mikey Saints Fan for Life, and I had that for like almost a year.
Well, that's still your that's still your handle too.
Yeah, I didn't change my handle, but like, I remember. But then, like, I remember a few months later when I was streaming with my boy Who Dat Center. I wonder how he's doing now. But yeah, I remember I was streaming with Who Dat Center, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna change my name. Why? Because everybody keeps calling me Hurricane Mike, so I might as well fit with it.
Okay.
Just, yeah. And you got a new sub from Plus 504. So
thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Yeah. Don't be too alarmed at the video I got coming out this week. I'm not disappearing. I'm just but you'll hear it in the video that's coming out this week. Anyway, that's it. So yeah, I'll leave y'all with the Who Dey.
Who Dat?